You've been showing up, you're posting consistently, you're building an audience, and your direct messages, your inbox on these social media platforms, still quiet. This episode is going to show you exactly why, but more importantly, exactly what to do about it, because the gap between having visibility and actually having sales conversations online is not a content problem like many people think. It is a system problem. And today we're going to fix it. You're listening to the secret marketing diary of personal brands, where being the face of your business gets to be powerful, profitable, and unfiltered. Okay, so let me paint a picture for you. I think this is going to sound very familiar. You posted something this week or maybe last week. It actually did really well. You got some likes, maybe some comments, maybe a few saves. Someone even shared it. And you thought, okay, this is it. This is going to be that one post that's actually going to start to bring people in. And then nothing. No DMs, no messages in your private inbox. No one reaching out saying, hey, I would love to know more about what you do. Just complete silence. And you're sitting there refreshing your notifications. I'm saying this because I've actually done this, wondering what the hell did I do wrong? So here's what I want you to understand. You're not doing anything wrong per se, not with your content. The content worked. It did its job. It got the attention, but attention is not a client, and visibility is not a sales conversation. And nobody is going to see your post and decide that right away that they want to hire you and then figure out on their own how to actually make that happen. This is not how it works online. And the fact that nobody told you this, which this happens so often, especially with content creators and these course creators that are teaching people how to use social media and how to create content. That's great. And listen, I teach people that too, but there's more to it than just posting content. One of the biggest failures of the online marketing industry is that people are given the sense of, if I post, number one, everyone's going to see what I post at any given time. And if I post and I keep posting, it's going to get me more clients. And it just doesn't work that way. It's an idea that we have been sold, right? And just because you create great content, you post consistently, and you're growing your audience, the clients don't just come from that. It is half true, but it's not fully true. Great content is meant to open the doors and start conversations, but you actually have to walk people through it to that next step. And most people are standing at the door waiting for someone to invite them in, but they're not actually getting invited in. I hope that after you listen to this episode today, you are the one taking the lead and inviting people in. And that is the gap. And so today I want to help you close that. So here's what's actually happening inside of most established experts' businesses right now. They have an audience, they have people watching, they have followers who have been consuming their content for weeks, for months, sometimes years, but they have zero system for converting any of that attention into actual conversation. I know this firsthand. We worked with a client. I can't say any names because most of our clients sign NDAs. But this very specific client is very well known in the industry, in the thought leadership industry, speaks on stages, motivational speaker, has written books, all the things. But the back end of what was actually happening with their social media was showing a different picture. They were getting tons of comments, but not actually creating any conversations in the DMs at all. And you would think that they would have a system for moving people from those conversations, those comments that were happening on their social media posts into actual DMs. And they were basically ignoring a gold mine of clients. Like, essentially, these were virtual leads that were just not being moved through any sort of experience or customer journey, right? Because they have zero system for converting any of that attention into actual conversations. And when I say conversation, I do not mean a pitch. I do not mean a cold DM that starts with, hey girl, I think that you would be perfect for my program. No, I mean a real human conversation that starts with genuine interest and naturally moves that person towards a place where that conversation begins, right? Where they want to know more about what it is that you do and how you could possibly help them. That is it. That is the whole thing. It takes a little extra time. Yes, I'm not going to pretend that this happens within, one back and forth conversation. Most of the time, no, especially if you're selling high ticket. But here is why it is not happening at all, because most people are treating their content like a vending machine, right? They put content in and they expect clients to come out of it. And when the clients don't come out of it, they just push more content out, more posts, more reels, more carousels, more value, more and more and more. And the machine is still not paying out because content is not the conversion mechanism. Content is the visibility mechanism. The conversion mechanism is conversation, always and will always be that. It doesn't change. And if you don't have a system for initiating and continuing and following up on conversations, your content is doing all the work and getting all of the attention, but it's not actually rewarding you. So this is what I call the DM Cashflow Framework. And it's a system that connects your visibility to your revenue. Not someday, not eventually, but really consistently when you are consistent with it and when you are initiating. So let me tell you something that is going to reframe how you think about where your time should actually be going. Most people in my world would rather spend an hour, that's a long time, an hour creating a piece of content than spend 15 minutes a day having real conversations as a real human being in their DMs. And I get it. Content feels productive, right? And if you don't put one piece of content out one day, you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm behind the ball, right? Like nobody's going to see me. That's it. Okay. No. It may feel productive and it may feel like you're building something and it feels safe, right? Nobody can reject a carousel post. But the truth is that content is a broadcast. DMs are a business. And if your revenue is stuck, if you are posting consistently and still not closing premium clients, I will bet you right now that the problem is not with your content. It is that your focus is in the wrong place. You are spending probably 80% of your time on the thing that creates visibility and 20% of the time, maybe, and I'm being generous, on the thing that actually creates revenue. So I want you to start by flipping that and watch what happens. Okay. So flip the focus. Right? So here's something else that I want you to sit with. The people that your ideal clients want to work with, the leaders that they follow, the experts that they invest in, those people do not just broadcast. They connect, they initiate, they reach out, they show up in people's worlds directly in their world and personally. Now, could they have somebody on their team doing it for them? Absolutely. But the point is that they have either themselves doing it or they have someone doing it. It's actually happening, right? Because followers follow leaders and leaders do not wait to be found. They make the first move. So if you want to be seen as the authority in your space, the go-to person, the obvious choice, the one people DM when they're finally ready to invest, you have to behave like that person right now. You've got to do it before you feel ready, before your following is big enough, before you have everything perfectly aligned in your funnel. You just need to do it. You just need to take that action. And one of the most powerful ways to show up as a leader is to initiate real conversations consistently every single day. Set a cadence for yourself. This is part of my Ignite Power Hour. So 15 minutes of that Ignite Power Hour is to initiate conversations in DMs. That is not pushy. That is leadership in action. Now, here's something that most people don't know. And this one's going to probably make you look at your DMs completely different. The algorithm is watching everything. And DM conversations are one of the highest ranked signals on almost every major social media platform right now. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they all reward accounts that are actively having conversations with real humans, not just broadcasting their content, not just collecting likes, actually talking to people. So when you send a DM and someone responds, that is a signal to the platform that you are trusted, number one, that you're active and that you're using the platform as an actual user and that you have an engaged account. And that signal compounds. So the more real conversations you're having, the more the algorithm is going to show your content to more people organically. The more that reach expands, the more new people find you. And guess what? The less you actually have to post. So I just want to see this really clearly, because DMs are not just good for your revenue, which is really what we want, right? But they're also good for your reach. Every conversation you initiate is literally feeding the algorithm that decides how many people see your content. So you have most likely been treating DMs as like a nice to have, but they're actually one of the most powerful growth levers that you have on social media, like full stop. So before I walk you through how this works, I want to address the thing that is, I know, probably already coming up for some of you, and that is the ick factor. I hear this all the time. Like, I just don't want to sound icky. I don't want to sound awkward and spammy. So look, I totally get it, because you have been on the receiving end of a spammy DM. I'm sure you probably get dozens of them. I do too, on a daily basis. Someone who connected with you on LinkedIn and immediately they're launching into a pitch, right? Like, no one likes that. Or maybe someone saw one of your posts and then slid into your DMs with a script, and you can tell when it's a script, and it's so obvious that they like literally copied and pasted, that you can see the spreadsheet that they're working from, right? And so now you've decided, I am never going to be like that person. I would rather have no clients than make anyone feel the way that those spammy DMs make me feel. I completely respect that. And I used to feel the same exact way, because that approach is not just annoying, it is ineffective. It will destroy trust before you even have a chance to build it. But here's what I want you to see. The alternative to spammy outreach is not no outreach. Okay. The alternative is intentional human connection. And there's a massive difference between the two. One is about you and your pipeline. The other is about them and their problem. And when you approach DM conversations from a place of genuine curiosity about what someone is working on, everything changes. All right. So how do we get tactical with this, right? So the very first piece of the DM Cashflow Framework is what I call an activation post. This has also been taught as a hand raiser post, or maybe even a 2-step post. And this is the missing link for most people. An activation post is not your regular content. It is not educational most of the time. I mean, it could be, but I'm going to simplify an activation post. Doesn't need to be a tip or a framework or a behind the scenes kind of a moment. It is a very specific type of post that's designed to do one simple thing: to activate, to get people to raise their virtual hand. So you have this natural permission to then start a conversation with them. So here's what it looks like in practice, right? So it is very short. Sometimes it's literally just one line or 2 to 3 lines at most. If you're doing this over on Facebook, I love using those solid color backgrounds that Facebook provides, but you could also do this on Instagram using a solid color background, and you just put the text on top of that. Or, over on LinkedIn, same thing, like an image with just solid color background and text on top of that. And it's going to say something like this: I'm thinking about hosting a short session where I walk you through the exact process we use with our clients to go from invisible to in demand in 30 days. Who wants it? That is it. Very simple, to the point, right? Now, everyone who comments, and people will comment because this is very low friction, but it's high curiosity. It's just given you permission to reach out to them. They raised their hand, they said yes, and now you have a natural, warm, completely non-weird reason to go into their DMs and start a conversation with them. But before you get into their DMs, here's what you want to do. You want to respond to their comments in that same thread, okay? Like, hey, Sarah, amazing. I'll send you a personal message with more details. That's it, okay? Then you're going to send them a personal message in DMs, and you're going to say something like, hey, Sarah, I saw that you commented on my post about blank. I'm so glad that you're interested. Can I ask you a quick question about where you're at right now so I can make sure that this is the right fit for you? So you see what I'm doing there? I'm not pitching her, and I'm not sending her what she actually raised her hand for just yet, because guess what? She may need something more hands-on, or maybe what you're going to give her is not actually what she needs, right? So start the conversation. It is not a pitch. It is a conversation opener, and conversation openers actually convert. Now, here's the key thing about activation posts that most people get wrong. They do them one time, right? They get a few comments, they follow up with maybe 2 or 3 people, and then they never do it again. No, you want to plug this type of post into your content, your weekly content once a week. Switch it up, right? Switch up the wording, tweak it. It could be for something different every single week, but you need to be doing activation posts at minimum once a week. Not the same one. You want to rotate it based off of what you're currently offering, right? So if you need more discovery calls, then your activation post could be something like, this doesn't happen all the time, but I actually have 2 spots left on my calendar this week for blank. Who wants it? Right? So something like that. Every activation post is a new group of people raising their virtual hand, right? And every hand raise is a conversation waiting to happen. Okay, so the activation post gets people to raise their hand publicly, right? But here's another type of DM outreach that most people completely overlook. And it's probably the simplest and most human thing that you can do. Reaching out personally to new connections. So every single time that someone sends you a friend request on Facebook and you accept it, or you send a friend request and they accept it. Every time somebody follows you on Instagram, every time somebody sends you or accepts your connection request on LinkedIn or vice versa, that is a warm signal. That person chose to enter your world. They saw something they liked, and most people will do absolutely nothing with that. So here's what you need to do instead. When someone new connects with you, you send them a message like that day, something very simple, something really real, something like, hey, Sarah, so glad to have you in my Facebook world. Hope you're having an amazing week. Look forward to staying connected. That's it. Right? I even throw this in, and actually one of my good friends, Jenna Larson, who's been on the podcast before, she gave me this line that really works well. So I'll say what I just said, like, hey, Sarah, so glad to have you in my Facebook world. Hope you're having an amazing week. Just wanted to say hi. We're on social media. We might as well be social. Right? And I mean, people actually laugh at that because that is the point of social media. But that is it. No pitch. Not here's what I do, not go check out this free resource, just a genuine human hello that makes them feel seen and welcomed. And I have to say, this is so rare for people to do this. So I generally will get lots of responses back saying, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I also will send a voice note sometimes. Like I'll say, hey, Sarah, I'll type that, right? And then send it. And then immediately after that, I'll send a quick voice note that will say the same thing. Like, hey, Sarah, thanks so much for being in my Facebook world. I just thought, it'd be fun for you to put a voice to the name. Hope you have a great day. Just wanted to say hi and be social since we're on social media, right? So again, it's just all about being human. And this will allow you to really stand out as well. Because do you know how many people send friend requests or connection requests and then never hear a single word from that person? But then one day out of nowhere, they get a pitch, right? That is really ick and annoying. And that is not what we're trying to do. And you do not want to be that person. Instead, you want to be the person that when you send them a welcome message, they feel acknowledged. They feel they have connected with a real human who actually noticed them, right? And then secondly, you now have a conversation thread that's been opened. A conversation thread is where the relationship starts to happen. And relationships are where clients come from. See the snowball effect? Sometimes they'll even write back like, thank you so much. I've been following your content for a while. I'd love to learn more about what you do. I mean, it could lead to that just from a simple hello. So be the human, send the hello every single time. Okay, so let's go back really quick to that activation post and the DM that you sent, right? So now what? Many times people freeze because they don't know what to say and they feel like they're going to mess something up. So they either say nothing, which is leaving money on the table, or they say way too much too fast and immediately make it weird. So the framework that you want to follow has 3 very simple parts, okay? Part 1 is the connect. Refer to something real, the post that they commented on, right? So you want to start with that, something you noticed about what they're working on, something genuine that shows that you're a real human and that you're actually paying attention to them, not a script, not a template, a real observation. Then part two is you're going to ask that one question, right? So something that opens the conversation and tells you where they are right now. What are you currently focused on in your business as it relates to blank? So I'm going to give you a perfect example. I have one of my lead magnets is our magnetic video generator. And basically it's a custom GPT that I built with my own formula that I know works when you write video scripts to convert people, whether to a free offer or a paid offer, it doesn't matter. And so we give this tool away for free. It's a lead magnet. And when somebody connects with us or follows me over on Instagram, for example, for the very first time, we will send them a DM that'll say, hey, Sarah, thanks so much for the follow. Not sure if you would be interested in this, if this is something that you need help with. But if you're not using video right now, or if you want to get better at using video in your content, I have this really incredible tool that will write your video scripts within seconds, and not just any kind of video script, high converting video scripts. I'm happy to gift it to you as someone new to my Instagram community. Would you like it? Okay. I would say like 90% of the time I get responses that say, yes, oh my gosh, I would love that tool. So when they respond that they want it, I'll respond back and say, amazing. Let me ask you just a few questions because I have a few variations of this tool and I want to make sure that I give you the one that best fits what you actually need. And so then I'll give them it's 3 multiple choice questions. Each question has to do with video, but it's going to diagnose what level of video use are they in. So if they answer the question, if they choose the answer, because it's multiple choice for the question that they, are you using video, but you're just not converting it into sales? If they answer that question, I'm going to respond back, not with the tool, because they don't need the tool. They're already using video. Now they could be using video in the wrong way, like saying things out of order, right? That's not getting them that conversion. But instead, I'll say, you know what? I have something even better that I think would help you since you're already using video. And one of the things that I do is a really short mini audit. So I can audit your videos and let you know where I see some gaps and where you need to make some tweaks to actually get those conversions that you're looking for. Would you like that? And guess what? That's actually offering them to get on a call with me. And that's where I actually end up converting them into a client. So you're not always going to necessarily send them that thing that they raise their virtual hand for. It could actually lead to something even more significant for both of you. Okay, so that's part 2. One question, then you stop talking and you just listen. And then you go into part 3. So based on what they share, you're going to decide your next move, right? Are they a fit for what it is that you were offering? If yes, great. Then you move the conversation naturally and you give them whatever it is that you shared that you were going to give, right? If that's not the right fit for them, then you're going to still serve them with genuine interaction and then move the conversation into a different direction. That is the whole framework at its core. You connect, you ask, you listen, and then you just move forward. Now, the nuance, the specific questions, the language, the sequencing of how you move someone from that first DM to a booked call, for example, that is where real depth lives. And that is exactly one of the things that we build out with our clients. And one of the things that I don't hear many gurus talk about, but it really makes everything else work, is that you need to track those conversations. Okay. I don't care if it's a Google Sheet, a CRM, if it's Group Track, which is one of my favorite tools. By the way, if you want a trial for that, I will be dropping the link down below so that you can grab that. It could be a sticky note system, doesn't matter, but you need somewhere that tells you who you talked to, when you spoke to them or DM them, what they said and what the next step was, what date that was on, all of those things. What happens without a tracking system is that you have this great conversation on Monday and then life happens. And by Thursday, you have completely forgotten about it. Right? By the following Monday, that person has moved on, probably hired someone else, and a warm lead that was genuinely interested in what you do just quietly disappeared because nobody followed up with them. I can't tell you how many times I have gotten on an audit call with a new client and asked them how many warm conversations they've had in the last 30 days, and they genuinely don't know because they have no system for seeing it. So your pipeline is not just the people who said yes, it is everyone who said maybe, everyone who said not right now, everyone who engaged with your activation post and then literally went quiet. Those people are warm, and warm people become clients when someone actually follows up with them with intention, which leads me to the piece that I'm not going to give you today. So what I have walked you through is the framework, the activation posts, the personal outreach, the DM conversation structure, right? The tracking mindset. What I have not given you is the full DM cash flow framework with the actual scripts, the conversation sequencing, the objection responses, and the follow-up cadence that keeps those warm leads moving through your pipeline without you feeling like you're constantly chasing people. Those things exist, and they're the reason my clients are having consistent sales and conversations daily. Why myself as a business owner, I have consistent sales through conversations in the DMs. Instead of spending hours creating content, posting to who knows who and wondering why nothing is converting. If you want to know what that could look like inside your specific business, here's what I want you to do. Send me the word cash flow on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn in my DMs. I will get back to you personally and we will take a look at what is actually happening between your content and your conversions. And so what I want you to take away from today is that your content is most likely not the problem. Your visibility is probably better than you think. What is missing is the system that connects your visibility to actual conversations. And conversations, as we have said on this podcast many times, are where the revenue lives. You do not need more content. You need a conversation system. And you now know exactly where to start. DM me cash flow. Let's look at it together. I will see you on the next one. You're listening to the Secret Marketing Diary of Personal Brands, where being the face of your business gets to be powerful, profitable, and unfiltered.